Elizabeth from Gabriel Family Adventures, and today I'm going to share a review with you all of the Now Amber Resort, which is in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background about the resort itself, our booking details, and how much it cost. And after that, I will go over all of the reasons why we really enjoyed the resort, then some things that we didn't really like about the resort, and then some kind of interesting things that we learned over this last week. And so that way, hopefully you can make an informed decision if you're thinking about staying at the Now Amber anytime in the future. So here we go. When we booked the Now Amber, we were looking for a place to go for Thanksgiving. And so Thanksgiving week is always more expensive than most other times of the year, except for maybe, the December break when a lot of people are on vacation. So we knew that going into it, and the year before we had stayed at the Marvel Residences, which I'll put a link below to, and we loved it, but it was kind of expensive. It's a luxury resort, and so we wanted to see if we could be a little more mindful of price and, would we kind of get the same positive experience with a little less money. And so just a little bit of full disclosure before we start. My husband and I have been to a lot of all-inclusives. We've been to a lot of all-inclusives in Puerto Vallarta because we love Puerto Vallarta. It's awesome. It's a wonderful place to go. There's so much to do. So some of the things that I'll be sharing with you are a little on the nitpicky side because we've been to so many resorts. So just bear that in mind. So what we decided to do is we decided to book the preferred club. And so what that is, it's it's a little bit more money per night per adult because at the Now Amber, kids stay for free. But what it gets you is it gets you some kind of fun perks. And we had read a little bit about it online, and so we thought it would be a nice little upgrade for us. And what we had was a preferred club Ocean View Junior Suite. And for 6 nights, our total cost was about $1,948. So overall, price per night per person was pretty low, especially considering the fact that it was Thanksgiving week, which is one of their most popular. Okay, so a little bit about the hotel itself. It's actually part of the Secrets Dreams hotel group, and so it is a smaller hotel that is actually split in half. Half of the hotel is the Now Amber, and that is geared towards families, and then the other half is actually a Secrets resort, which is adults only. So if you want to go to the secret side, you can, but you can't bring your children with you. So just kind of bear that in mind. The hotel is not big, especially if you compare it to other hotels in Nueva Vallarta, or if you've ever been to Cancun, to any of their kind of mega hotels. This is a lot smaller, and it feels a lot smaller, especially considering the fact that it's actually split in half between the Secrets out and the Now Amber. If you're heading to the hotel, what I recommend doing is actually just get a cab. I wouldn't really worry about trying to arrange transportation, either asking the hotel or trying to arrange, maybe a private car. The taxis are really inexpensive. The only thing is, if you're going through the airport, it's really confusing if you've never been to Mexico before, especially these resort areas. After you walk out of customs, you kind of get bombarded with free tequila shots and all these people saying, oh, I'll get you transportation. Here, let me help you figure out your way around Puerto Vallarta. Most of them are timeshare salesmen, or they're selling you something. So what you should do is just beeline it out of the airport, and once you get outside, or when you see the exit doors, because sometimes they're standing right on the inside depending on how hot it is that day, you'll see someone that has a sign that says taxi only. And that's what they're selling you. So even if someone else said they're gonna get you a taxi, they're probably trying to sell you something else too. So go to the taxi only, tell them where your hotel is. Because the Now Amber is right by downtown Puerto Vallarta, it is super cheap. It was $20 to get there, to get from the airport to the hotel, and only $10 to come back to the airport. It's about a 15-minute drive, easy to get to. Now, when you get to the Now Amber, you'll pull up to the lobby, and there's the lobby for the secrets, and then you can also check in for the Now Amber. But if you're in the preferred club for the Now Amber, you actually get escorted down to a different check-in. It's actually in another building. So they'll take you down an elevator, and you'll head on over, and they'll have your bags, so you'll get your little bag slip. And what they'll do is they'll check you in kind of a smaller lobby area that is just for the preferred club. And they have treats, they have snacks, and we found out later that those snacks are actually replenished all day, every day, and they had hot food, all kinds of stuff. So you check in there. They are going to try to book you to go to a timeshare presentation, and I'm not a huge fan of timeshare presentations, even though I own a timeshare. Maybe that's why I'm not such a big fan, but all you have to do is say no. Okay. So what did we like about the Now Amber? The kids club is amazing. There's a huge outdoor section with a rock climbing wall, a little soccer field kind of thing. There's trampolines, there's a playground. You go inside, there's arts and crafts, there's video games, there's a kitchen where they do cute things like cookie decorating. They did a donut decorating afternoon. So there's tons to do, and every hour they have different activities scheduled, and you get this detailed schedule every single day, changes every single day, you know, face painting, all the good stuff. And you can have your kids there for pretty much the whole day into the evening if you want to. And you know, maybe if you want to go to some of the restaurants that are adults only, your kids can actually have dinner at the kids club, and the kids club folks will get the food for them and everything. We didn't actually take advantage of the dinners at the kids club. Our kids ate with us, but you know, if your kids really like to go and hang with other kids, it was amazing. And the gals who were working at the kids club seemed to genuinely like our children and seemed to really like their job. They had a lot of energy. So it was really incredible. And our kids love the kids club. So we definitely used it a couple hours here and there each day, depending on, you know, what was on the schedule. So, you know, the donut decorating, the kids definitely wanted to be there for that. And I cannot speak more highly of how awesome the kids club was. So if you are looking for a hotel that has an expansive kids club, this is definitely the hotel for you. The other thing that they have, because they have such a detailed schedule, it's not just for the kids club, but it's for the entire resort, is that they have a lot of entertainment. So they have entertainment at the pool each day. They're playing games. My husband actually entered they had a little 30-minute blackjack tournament, and he won a free excursion with Vallarta Tours, which is the biggest tour company in Puerto Vallarta. They've actually expanded to other tourist destinations as well. And so there's all of that. And then at night, they've got different themed shows every night. So they had a circus show, a fire show, and our particular favorite was a Mexican heritage show where they did, you know, they had dancing, and they had this cool kind of Aztec warrior part of the show, and my daughter loved the folklorica dancers with their beautiful skirts, and they had people dressed with the Day of the Dead paint on their faces and walking around, and it was really incredible. And so we were very entertained. Some of the shows start at 9:30 p.m., which was a little on the late side because our kids are 4 and 6. But if you have older kids, or depending on, you know, what time zone you flew in from, that's probably not a big deal. But for us, our little guy was pretty wiped out before most of the shows started, so we didn't get to see everything. But the shows we saw, we really enjoyed. We were very impressed with. The other thing we were impressed with was the staff. So whether it was the kids club staff or the people in the lobby, our waiters, waitresses, everybody was so nice and professional and friendly and prompt that I was really, really impressed. The other thing they do, and I believe this is just this time of year, is they do a turtle release of newborn baby turtles. And so there are eggs that are left at the resort, and so if there's some that hatch in a given day, that night they actually have staff members who are trained to safely release the turtles back into the ocean, and they will allow the kids to help with this process. And so they teach the kids about how you have to get your hands super duper sandy because you don't want to have, any kind of human lotion or anything like that that's going to affect the turtle. And so they teach them how to hold the turtles very safely and let them go into the sand to go out into the ocean to begin their big adventure. And my kids got to take advantage of this 2 different times over the course of the week, and they felt like they were the turtle saviors. They named their turtles each time, and so it was a really interesting kind of educational experience that was also fun and something that I feel like was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a part of. Now, since we were there over Thanksgiving, we didn't have a lot of expectations for Thanksgiving dinner because we were in a foreign country, and since Thanksgiving is an American holiday, we thought, maybe they'll have some turkey or ham or something. I don't know. First of the day, as we're hanging at the pool, we get to see all of these things. The buffet tables are coming out and stuff, and there's decorations going up, and it was a very long process to get everything set up, and it was amazing. So by the time dinner rolled around, there was pretty much every Thanksgiving side or meat option that you could possibly ask for. My husband loved the prime rib that they had so much that he had a few plates of it. And, the turkey was Thanksgiving turkey, the gravy, stuffing, all that. They had tons of desserts, cotton candy, lollipops, and everything else you could possibly imagine. The staff members were dressed like pilgrims and Native Americans, and they walked around, and there was a live band, there was fireworks. I mean, it was incredible. The band played all kind of American classic songs like Sweet Caroline, for example. So you kind of felt like you were in the United States, but it was also about 75 degrees outside and gorgeous. And so you're like, oh, Thanksgiving in Mexico. Okay. And so we were really pleasantly surprised with our Thanksgiving dinner in paradise. The other thing that we loved was the Preferred Club. And so the Preferred Club, not only do you have a great check-in process, but you do have your snacks and hot food in your own little section. If you don't feel like, walking over to the buffet or to one of the restaurants, you can just eat there. They have this really nice coffee maker that also does espresso, and you can help yourself to that whenever you want. There's a secret little bar on the 2nd floor of the Preferred Club building that has upgraded alcohol options. So if you want, something a little bit nicer, you can go there. A word of warning though, the bartender at the Preferred Club is very generous with his pours. He'll just say when. So could get you in trouble. Just something to think about. And we did feel like for a pretty small price to upgrade our experience to the Preferred Club, it was definitely worth it because of all the fun amenities. They had, upgraded toiletries. They had extra toiletries that you don't always get at a hotel. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, so they had, a razor, toothbrush, toothpaste, those kinds of things, which I'm so thankful they did because my husband forgot his toothbrush, and so there was one for him, so we didn't have to go find, a little market store or something somewhere else. So that was nice. We did feel pampered in the Preferred Club. We also took advantage, twice. This is classic Elizabeth, is that, I have the best of intentions of exercising every day on vacation, and then it never happens. So I always usually make it about the first 2 days of our trip, and then I just fall apart and eat all the fried food at the end. So I did go to the gym for the first 2 days of our vacation, and the gym facility is on the secret side. It's right by the spa, and the spa is very beautiful. And the gym was great. It had all the equipment you could possibly want. There were free weights, there were ellipticals, treadmills, all that kind of good stuff. It was very clean. There was a staff member actually cleaning the whole time I was there both days. There's an attendant, so if you need, water or a towel or anything like that, they're there for you. And so I did really like the gym facility. I should have just used it a little more. So it goes. And outside of the gym is one of the 2 cafes on site. It's called Coco Cafe, and they have just delicious drinks. I highly recommend the iced cappuccino. It's so good. And they have other pastries, as if you didn't get enough, at the other restaurants and places like that. They have even more pastries at the 2 different Coco Cafes on site. So you will never go hungry for sure. So that's everything that we liked about the Now Amber. Now let's get into a little bit of the criticisms. So one of the first things was that if you're traveling with a large group, so they advertise themselves as, a place where most of the restaurants you don't need a reservation. Well, they don't take reservations, but I actually wish they did for large groups, because when we were traveling there, at one point we were 6, and then at one point we were a group of 9. And it was really difficult to get a table with under a 45-minute to an hour wait. And they have kind of this weird stuff about when you can go down to get a little buzzer to wait for your table. So one time my mom and I went down and said, oh, okay, there's going to be 6 of us. We'll be here in 30 minutes. Will you have something? Said, oh, well, you need to come back when you're all here. And so it's kind of confusing, and it's tricky when you're traveling with kids because kids don't have the longest attention span. So if it was just us adults, we would go put our name in, get a buzzer, go have a cocktail at the lounge or whatever, and it would be fine. But when you're traveling with kids, you want things a little more prompt, but we also didn't want to eat at the buffet every single day. So we had to get a little creative with how to distract the kids and occupy their time and stuff like that. So I wish maybe they had kind of a section for if you were in groups of 6 or more, they had, some way to make reservations for you, but they didn't. So that was kind of frustrating. And also in terms of dining, I felt like the food wasn't that impressive. There were a few standouts. The poolside bar hamburgers were pretty good. I had a yummy shrimp cocktail at the Castaways restaurant, but there was nothing there that I thought, oh my gosh, this is the best seafood. We have to come back to this resort. And I have felt that at other resorts, particularly at the Marval Residences. Their breakfast options just knock my socks off. And at the Now Amber, the breakfast is, you've got your omelet station, your bacon and stuff like that, but it's pretty standard fare. It's nothing kind of above and beyond. So, if you've never been to an all-inclusive before, it's fun, it's different, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can just kind of get whatever I want. But if you've been to small inclusives before, you might start to realize that this food doesn't really stand out in the way that some other resorts do. And so if you're a big foodie, that'll be disappointing. Lots of processed cheese and stuff like that. So that was a bummer. Also, because the resort is split between Secrets and Now Amber, like I said before, it wasn't big to begin with, and then when it's split in half, it's pretty small. Now, if you have mobility issues, that's actually a good thing, because then you're not trying to, hike all the way across some kind of mega resort, but you might not want to be at the same pool or 2 every single day. And also because it's smaller and you don't have kind of those winding pools, there were a lot of pool chairs that were just kind of in rows without, a pool view or an ocean view. It was just kind of there. Whereas some of the bigger resorts, you actually have a little more space to sort of lay out. So that's something to think about. And because it's small, what's going on pretty much everywhere in the resort. So they do have a lot of entertainment. There's a lot of music, not just the shows at night, but they have, performances in the lobby and stuff like that. You can hear everything. Even when you're in your room with the doors closed, the blinds pulled, you hear everything. And they have music going in some variety or another every single night until 11 p.m. without fail. And that was really frustrating because, we were traveling with little kids who tend to go to bed a little earlier. They stay up later than most kids their age, but it was just so late and it was really loud. So if you can sleep with earplugs in, then it's not a big deal. But I can't, my kids can't. And so they were pretty wiped out. They were actually able to fall asleep earlier than my husband and I were able to, but it was super loud. And so then I felt like I wasn't really getting a restful night's sleep. And then of course my kids wake up really early. And, you know, because it was billed as a kid-friendly, family-friendly resort, I thought they'd be a little more mindful of the noise. And because of the noise itself, we're not coming back to the resort. If that's something that doesn't bother you, or if you're traveling without kids or kids who are older who stay up until whenever, then maybe it won't bother you as much. But it was really disruptive. So I was pretty disappointed in that. And also the hotel itself is older. So even though they have, you know, nice linens and things like that, you can just tell that the hotel is pretty old. You know, the room where the toilet is, the kind of off the bathroom, there's just the toilet room. I can't believe that you didn't hit the toilet with the door every time you opened up the door. It was so cramped. And my husband and I both have matching massive bruises on our shins from running into this like metal bar that was sticking out of the bed. So there's just things you could kind of see everywhere that the hotel is pretty dated. And even in the preferred club, you know, this is getting a little nitpicky, but because I read that there were upgraded toiletries, I didn't really pack any shampoo or conditioner or body wash because I just assumed it would be in the room. But what they have is, they had good body wash and stuff like that, but they have what's called conditioning shampoo. And it was not conditioning at all. So I was super bummed because my hair and my kids' hair was, by the end of the week, was kind of the texture of straw because we were getting no conditioner. And, you know, when you're in the ocean with the salt water and then in the pool with the chlorine all day, you know, your hair is getting pretty fried. And so I know that's kind of a small nitpicky thing, but if you are going to this hotel, bring your own conditioner because you're gonna need it. The other toiletries were fine, but I was surprised that they didn't have that in this kind of upgraded preferred club room. Okay, so now some kind of weird, interesting facts we learned about the hotel while staying there. So the first thing is that they also have a casino on site. We didn't use the casino, so I don't know much about it, but I do know it was open from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day. I did briefly look inside and I saw that there were some slot machines and table games and stuff like that, but there is a casino. And the other thing I learned, which I was really pleasantly surprised by, is that they have a doctor on site. They actually have 2 doctors who work 12-hour shifts each day. So there's always someone on site whenever you're staying there. And we learned this the hard way because our little guy got injured while we were staying there, but thankfully the doctor was able to come and check him out. She, you know, looked him over, tested a few things. He had hurt his neck, so we were really nervous because you never want to mess around with a neck injury. She recommended that we go to the hospital nearby. It was about a 5-minute drive away, and get x-rays, which we did, and the hospital was really clean. All the doctors, the on-site doctor and the doctors at the hospital, were all completely bilingual, so you know, we didn't feel like anything was getting lost in translation. We knew exactly what they were saying to us and what we were saying to them. And x-rays came back negative. He's fine. He did have to have a little neck brace for a while, which was cute and kind of sad. But you know, I think knowing that some resorts have doctors on site and some resorts don't, I think that's something that I will research in the future and be mindful of when I'm making my next reservation, because it was really nice to have someone who was there within about 5 minutes of everything that happened and able to, you know, do some basic analysis and run some tests and stuff like that. So overall, will we be back to the Now Amber? I don't think so. We did have fun. It's always fun to go to Mexico for a week. It's just amazing. The weather was gorgeous. Puerto Vallarta is the best. But I think because of the noise and the mediocre food and stuff, I don't know if we'll be back. But if you're looking for kind of an introduction to an all-inclusive experience, this is a nice place to go, especially considering the fact that you can get a great price. So if you look online, especially if you're not going during a holiday time, you can get an amazing deal. They're always running specials on the Now Amber. So if you're really concerned about your budget, you can have a very nice vacation for less money than some of the other resorts out there. So I do recommend checking it out if you're kind of thinking more along the lines of budgetary constraints. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to put those below, and subscribe to this channel for more adventures in the future, and I will see you later.